How's it going, everybody? This is DeanoGTO, and today we are looking at the M4A2 Loza. Now, I am just going to mention there are two other premiums I am going to be doing videos on over probably the next week or two. One of them is the DeanogTO, and the other one I'm going to not say where it is. There's one person who does know where it is, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about what the tank is. I'm just going to leave it up in the air. But all I'm going to say is it's a tank that I would normally never thought I would have liked. But yeah, I ended up liking it quite a lot, which was a pretty big surprise to me. I really had no expectations of the tank being fun to play, but it actually was. So yeah, it's not my typical playstyle either, so that's another hit for you. And also apologies there hasn't been a video in about a week and a half now. Pretty much the reason for that is honestly one of the tanks, I don't know what has happened, but I feel like I'm getting shafted in every single game I play. Because either there's three artilleries and they all seem to shoot me, or my team just crumbles within like the first 2 or 3 minutes. That happened to me 7 times in one day. Jumped into the game, 2 minutes in, half my team was dead, and I'm just like, half the team is dead, and you haven't managed to kill one. I'm just like, what? Yeah, frustration. So hopefully this will not be a continuation of that theme. So just going to go over some quick stats here in comparison to the Thunderbolt, because I figured that was probably the best comparison. So, what are the main things that are important about the Loza? Well, Loza, pretty much the only real big thing that it comes with that's different is it has some like unique like numberings and some like writing on the side. I actually think this is writing as well, but it could just be something else because it is on this side as well. I don't know what exactly that is. It might just be like markings or something. But yeah, it's not high enough resolution for me to read it, or if it is writing or anything. So pretty much the only really unique thing about this tank is the crew it comes with. So it comes with just a normal 100% crew, aside from Loza. Loza himself has Sixth Sense as his base skill. However, like there's one thing with that. Well, let's just say we have other crews in the game which come base with Brothers in Arms. This is a perfect example. It comes with Brothers in Arms straight off the bat. So, like Brothers in Arms, in my opinion, I would argue is more important to have as a base skill than Sixth Sense, if I'm honest. I don't really know why you would go for that there. Why would you go for Sixth Sense over Brothers in Arms? Kind of confuses me a little, if I'm honest. So, in my opinion, this tank is not worth it. I'm just going to say that at the very start, but I'm going to show you why first. So, this tank here, I checked beforehand, the gun handles exactly the same as the M4A3 Easy 8. Just for some reason this gun's lighter, for some part reason. Now, when you compare it to the 76mm that the M4A3 Easy 8 Thunderbolt uses, you can see some differences. So the Thunderbolt has a more accurate, faster aiming time gun. Damage and penetration are exactly the same. But the Thunderbolt sacrifices a round and a half per minute for the better gun handling. And in my opinion, that is better than having just a raw brute rate of fire that the M4A3 Easy 8 and stuff have. Because if I'm honest, it's not too often that you can really use the full rate of fire. A lot of the time you have to hold off on your shots to let the gun aim. So, in my opinion, I do prefer the way the gun handles on the Thunderbolt in comparison to the other M4s. So, when it comes to this tank in particular here, the Thunderbolt, pretty much the primary advantages of this tank are it has extra thick frontal armor, 123mm instead of 63 or 76 I think it is on the normal Easy 8. And it has a bunch of spaced armor everywhere, like I think this is spaced armor, this is spaced armor, this is spaced armor, this is spaced armor, and that's spaced armor. So it just has a ton of spaced armor all over it, so it doesn't really matter too much that it's a bit slower because you're going to survive longer into the game and you're going to be able to like do more damage over time than a normal M4A3 Easy 8 would be able to do in a similar sort of circumstance. So when you look at the Loza has no additional armor whatsoever, but theoretically the main advantage of this tank should be its top speed because it has a 51.4 km/h top speed. That looks really good on paper until you realize one detail. Look at the engine power. 410 horsepower, 34.5 ton tank. 37 ton tank, 500 horsepower, 13.4 specific power. So going down the hill, this thing is significantly faster than the Thunderbolt. However, going up a hill, the Thunderbolt is going to just leave it in its dust. And I say that with very little doubt, because the Thunderbolt genuinely feels quicker overall on more terrains than the Loza. Loza, in very specific circumstances, feels very, very quick, but those circumstances are a lot rarer than the Thunderbolt circumstances, if I'm 100% honest with you. And something actually which I was thinking about whenever I was looking at this tank, looking at stats and stuff like that, this thing has an 11.9 specific power. What other tank has an 11.9 specific power? I was just thinking about it, and I went to tier it, and I found the tank I was thinking of. Yep. The KV5 has the same horsepower per ton ratio as the Loza. That's not good. It's good for the KV5 because the KV5 has a shit ton of armor, is able to block all of the shots. This thing, well, it's medium. It doesn't have any armor, if I'm 100% honest with you. And yeah, that's not a good thing that you have the same part of weight ratio as the KV5, because the KV5 is a big gigantic juggernaut of a tank. The Loza is not that. I mean, look at the armor values this monster has in comparison to the Loza. Yes, granted, there's a 2-tier difference between these tanks, but you have to admit that's pretty fucking sad that you're a medium tank and you have the same part of weight ratio as a KV5. That's not good. Okay, so we're back. Now, let's see. Actually, that's a pretty interesting comparison. There's actually an easy 8 on my team. Huh. Yeah, I just kind of loaded in there just as the match started. And actually, I always forget that now that they've rebalanced this map and they've changed a bunch of it, these rivers are pretty much passable in almost any location except those big steep walls there. It's pretty awesome and it actually gives you a lot more opportunities than you used to have. But just to show you the difference between this tank and normal Easy 8 in terms of its visual appearance, look at the Easy 8. Easy 8 has significantly thicker looking tracks than this tank, but the hull itself looks exactly the same. It's literally just the tracks, as far as I can tell, they're different. And I think the armor might be a little tiny bit better on the Easy 8, but I think that's literally it. I can't think of anything else that's really different between the two. Both have the same health pools, both have the M1A2 gun with the same rate of fire, same aiming time, same dispersion stats. And actually, if I'm honest, this is actually the first time I've gone over here. Because I'm usually a much more aggressive player, it actually feels weird to be back here. I just can't follow that Easy 8, not even thinking about what I was doing. So, I'm going to just kind of poke up here. I do have binoculars. I always carry binoculars on these lower tiered vehicles, because having binoculars just gives you options that you don't have if you don't carry them. Like I could go improve vents easily and just make my tank the damage permit monster, but I don't really think that's a good idea because it just limits your opportunities when it comes to outspotting stuff and using your gun at range. Which, granted, is not the main point of this tank. This tank doesn't usually like to engage stuff at long range, but it's nice to have the option there in your back pocket just in case you want to do it. So we're going to move forward, considering the T29 and T37 have decided to move forward. And, wow, that guy lost a lot of health very quickly. Holy crap, that guy got nuked. Wow. Is this game going to be the one win I get over the last week? Because I'm not joking, my luck in World of Tanks recently has been complete shit. I have had more teams in the last week of playing this game where my team has lost 1 to 15. I've had more games like that recently than I've had ever in World of Tanks in my previous time playing World of Tanks. I'm honestly baffled by how bad it's been. And honestly, it can't put me off trying to make YouTube videos for a while, if I'm honest. But hopefully this will be the turnaround moment. Oh, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare! I realized he was looking at me at the last second. I was like, oh my god, no. Don't let this happen. Artilleries, god damn it. I don't know what, I don't know if you guys have noticed this here, but I feel like artilleries have just started running rampant in the game at the moment. Like they're everywhere, all the time. Like getting a game without artillery, I had one last game, but I had played like 3 days where I hadn't had a single game without artillery. 3 days in a row, not a single game with no artillery. Like it, you really have to like tower in fear whenever there's a bunch of artillery in a match. It really, really sucks for gameplay. Okay, come on, gun, really? Hey, you got the kill. Oh, for fuck's sake, 1 damage, god damn it. It's not World of Tanks unless you're being trolled. But yeah, this guy's screwed. He's having to drive a bunch in front of a bunch of my teammates' guns. Well, at least theoretically he had to do that there. But yeah, you can see here what the issue is with this tank, with its kind of crappy engine power. I was really struggling to keep up with that guy there. Now, it was an FE304. FE304 is known for being generally kind of quick, but it's not good whenever you're in a medium tank, a tier 6 medium tank in particular, whenever you're against things like the Cromwell. I mean, that's actually a tank I didn't even compare this thing to. This thing compared to the Cromwell is not even in the same league. If you were to like remove the tiers from the tanks and just say what like and just ask people, do you think these two tanks are the same tier? I honestly think people would say no. Because this tank versus the Cromwell, there's such a huge difference that I really don't know how they justified making this thing so mediocre in comparison. Wow, that was an abysmal shot. I completely misled the well misjudged the shell speed. Oh wow, this guy, what the hell? He was like right in front of me. He's gonna kill me now, isn't he? I don't know what happened to that guy. He just didn't. I didn't see him fire his gun. He didn't shoot me. That was weird. No idea what happened. I'm gonna die now, aren't I? I actually managed to survive, which is bizarre. That usually doesn't happen. Usually I just wind up getting focused down and dying. But hopefully, oh no, that's the frontal armor. And that's like this is like one of the few tanks where an M445 actually has some armor, like actually has armor that is somewhat effective. And as you can see, the gun. Actually, wait, how did my driver? How did my gunner die? I didn't even notice that. And yeah, you're seeing like the situation when it comes to these 76mm. This is why I prefer the Thunderbolt's gun. Because the Thunderbolt would be a lot more consistent when it comes to situations like this. I mean, I'm just spraying this guy. 100%. This is just spray and pray, pretty much. Because I'm refusing to use premium. I'm not going to use premium on a fucking M445. No way. But yeah, actually something I was reading, like next patch, which is coming out I think tomorrow, is going to actually include some buffs to some of the French heavy tanks, which is nice to see because it's been years since those things were touched. And it's nice to see, like the BRG-1B, the ARL-44, MXM445, all getting a small amount of love. When I say small amount, they're getting like aim time changes and some like dispersion changes and shit. That's about it, really. But it's nice to see they're getting something. So what did I get for that game? Wow, that was a first class. That is a low standard. That is a low standard for a first class. That is not a good sign. Wow, a first class for that felt like an incredibly mediocre game. But that was holy crap. That is not a good sign of like how good this tank is. Okay, that was a genuine shock. I'm sure as you can probably tell from like the way I talked about that, but that is not a good sign. Do not buy this tank. I would not recommend it in the slightest. Like, honestly, if this thing had like a 520 horsepower engine, or like a 560 horsepower engine, maybe like, actually hang on, let me see, what's the engine that the Jumbo uses? I think the Jumbo and the E8 use the same engine, but let's just see. If this thing had a 520 horsepower engine, actually, wait, what's the engine does this thing use? Oh, this is where we're getting the 560 from. That's the T20 engine. But if it was using a 520 horsepower engine, I honestly think it would be pretty good. But because it only has a 410 horsepower engine, it's a 110 horsepower difference between this thing and a normal EZ8. If it had more engine power, I honestly think this thing could be pretty good. But because it just has this completely lackluster engine, I don't know. I really couldn't justify this, like buying this tank to anybody. I wouldn't tell my worst enemy to buy this tank if I'm honest. And especially because, well, you can just do this. And you have one of the best tier 6 mediums in the game. Why on earth would you ever buy the M4A2 when you have this as an option? Genuine question. I honestly can't think of an answer. Because, I mean, that's not even funny. Hang on. Look at this. Look at how good the gun is on this. That's 0.35 dispersion, 2 points. Holy crap, this gun's amazing. Here's a better part. Why would you ever buy the Loza? Okay, this is a tank I think I played one game in this thing since I got it. I got it as kind of like a thing just to have. Looking at the stats in comparison to the Loza, holy crap, this thing is insane. Like that's under par for a T3045, but holy crap, this thing blows the Loza out of the water. Hang on, I have to look at these two just side by side, just out of curiosity. In terms of like their base stats. Oh my god, like this thing has a faster aiming time, has better accuracy, has a better DPM, has significantly better frontal hull armor, has better turret armor, well theoretically better turret armor. Technically this thing has a better mantlet, but not really if I'm honest. It's actually a lighter tank, has a 500 horsepower engine, which is 90 horsepower more powerful than the Loza. Has a 15 horsepower per ton ratio, has a higher top speed. Yep, that seems about right. See, this is the kind of shit I was expecting from a Russian tank. This is under par. I honestly it never even occurred to me to like compare it to the T3045M, but doing the comparison, that's tragic. That is genuinely tragic how bad the Loza is in comparison to this thing. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Loza in the comment section below. I would not recommend you buy it. I would just like look at the stats in Tanks GG. I bought it purely because I wanted to just do a video on it and just show you why it's a bad tank. So yeah, I'm probably going to play it a bit more, like, because I have it as well. But yeah, would not recommend it, especially when you have tanks like this as an option. Like this thing just destroys it. It's a similar story with the Rudy, but this thing's just a better Rudy these days. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and hopefully my content will be a bit more regular from this point forward. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.